Hello and thank you for watching this 248 video tutorial. In the previous video I have created this Unity project and I have imported all the assets that we had into this project. The only changes that we have introduced so far is I have grabbed this sample screenshot, dragged it into our scene, and I have saved this scene and called it the main scene. In this video we are going to discuss Unity UI. UI stands for User Interface. UI is generally used to create stuff like menus, conversation screens, sometimes inventories, maybe progress bars, some HUDs that show health and mana, for example. So basically UI is used to show some information to the player, the information that is not the game itself. But sometimes with such a simple application as this 248 game, it is possible to create entire game using only Unity UI. In this lecture we are going to carry out some experiments with Unity UI, and I don't want it to interfere with our game development, so I will go to File and hit Create New Scene. Remember, all the progress that we currently have will be saved in this main scene file that we have created previously. So I'll hit New Scene, and in this scene we are going to focus on creating Unity UI. One way of doing this is we can go to the Hierarchy tab, and there is this little drop down menu that says Create, so I'll press on that, and we have a separate dedicated menu item that is called UI. Here we can see that the list of all available UI elements is not that long. Actually, I've heard this explanation in another tutorial that demonstrates how simple UI really is. Basically, all the elements in this list are either a text or an image. Only these last two objects that are called canvas and event system are a bit different. We will not touch event systems for now, so I will skip that. Canvas is a game object that holds all our UI. So the first thing that we would like to do while working with UI is we would like to create a new canvas. So I will press on canvas. Right now not much has changed in our scene. There are these two lines that have appeared near the camera, and when I hover over them with the mouse this cursor changes. In the hierarchy view we can see that the canvas has been created, but also it has automatically created event system for us. I will double click on canvas and we can now see all the canvas in our scene. Right now what I would like to do is I would like to create one of each UI elements so that you can see for yourself that they're just images and text. So I'll go to Hierarchy, Create UI, and I will create a panel. I will go to UI once again and I will go on creating one of each UI objects. I have just created a button. Right now I'll create a text. The next UI element that we have is an image, and the next UI element that we have is a raw image. Next UI element that we have is a slider, and we also have a scroll bar, and we also have a toggle and an input field, and that's it. So we have created one of each UI elements in our scene. When I add new UI elements through this context menu Create, all these new UI elements automatically are parented to the canvas. If you do not understand what parenting means, do not worry, we will discuss this topic in our next videos. Right now what I'd like to do is I would like to evenly spread all the UI elements that we have added to our scene throughout this canvas. So I will zoom in a little bit, and the best tool for working with UI is this Rect tool that we have selected over here in the Tools section. So I will go and choose one of the UI elements, for example this input field, and I will drag it from the center to the lower part of the screen. Then I will select this toggle and I will drag it right above our input field. The next element that we have is this scroll bar, so I'll go and drag it right above the toggle. The next element is a slider, so I'll go and place it above the scroll bar. The next one is this raw image, so I'll grab it and drag it here on top. Next we have an ordinary image. I will drag it and place it side by side with our raw image. And next component is just text. I'll just drag it here between the images and the button will stay in the same place. The most interesting thing right now is that I can go to this bar and launch a game. It is obvious that we don't have any game right now. We just have a bunch of UI created on an empty canvas. But what I wanted to demonstrate is that all this UI is working, so I can click on this button and it gets, the shade of the button is changed. I can drag the slider, I can scroll the scroll bar, I can turn the toggle on and off, I can enter some text to this input field. So basically everything works. I had to press this button again to exit from our game mode. And if we make a quick run through all the elements that we have created, so a panel, it has this image script attached. We can see it in the inspector. So a panel is basically an image. A button is also an image. It has also this button script attached, and a button also has a text on it that right now says button. So a button is an image and a text. Then we have a text and an image that are pretty obvious. Raw image is just another type of an image that uses texture instead of a sprite, but we won't be using raw images in our game, so I can just delete that. Another game object is a slider. It has this really long and scary script that is called the slider, and parented to the slider are a couple of images. First one is background, the second is fill area that has this fill that is also an image, and handle slide area that has this handle which is also an image. And we also have the scroll bar. It is constructed similarly to a slider, so the scroll bar itself is an image, sliding area is empty, and handle is also an image. And with toggle we have the background of a toggle is an image and label is a text. The input field basically has two text components and an image as a background. So what I wanted to show you in this video is that we don't have to be afraid of Unity UI, and that all the Unity UI is just images and text. What we also might do is we might want to save the scene to play with it for later. So I will go to File and hit Save Scene. I wouldn't like to save the scene in our assets folder, not to mix it with our main scene. So I will create a folder here. I will click and create folder, and I will name this folder Test Scenes. In this folder I'm going to create the scene that I'll call Canvas Test and hit save. You can see that in the assets folder there is this test scenes folder now, and inside this test scenes folder there is our canvas test scene, so we can open it anytime and change something if we need to. So in this video I have shown you the way to create new UI objects. We can do it through this menu in the hierarchy tab called Create and UI, and we have created our first canvas, and then we went on and created one of each UI elements that we have available for us in Unity. The most important thing in this tutorial is that all the UI is made just of images and text. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.